In this episode, I'll be installing these new ARP head studs onto my D16Y8 block in preparation for the refreshed cylinder head and new head gasket that's going to be going back on. So it seems like super straightforward, right? Like just thread the new studs down into the holes and bam, you're done. And that's pretty much it. But you want to make sure that these thread holes are totally clean. The main reason being is that when we put these new studs down in the block, we want them to be seated properly. That will give us accurate torque readings. If there's debris and stuff in there, maybe the thread doesn't quite fit all the way in, and when you go ahead and start torquing, something could move. That leads to inaccurate torque readings. Then the cylinder head may not be totally sitting right. You know, it's just a cascading effect of bad stuff. I was actually looking down in my threads, and yeah, there is some debris down in there. You wouldn't think there would be. I'm like, how could anything get in there? Because the old stud had been in there. But when you're cracking these things loose initially, you can really hear everything kind of rubbing and moving. So that one's got a lot of stuff in there. So we need to go ahead and get all that out. And to do that, we're going to be using some really simple tools, This is just brake parts cleaner. This is compressed air. And then this guy right here is called a thread chaser. We're going to be using these to clean out the holes here. Make sure that there's no kind of debris in there. So first we're going to go ahead and spray the brake parts cleaner down in the hole. Just kind of move all the debris around. Then we're going to blow that out with this compressed air. And we're going to go ahead and do that to each one of these holes here. Then with the thread chaser, we're just going to go ahead and work this thing down into the holes on the block, and it just cleans out the thread. This part right here, you know, it's not the same as like a normal tap. A tap would go down and actually cut new thread. And being that this is an aluminum block, that can happen really easily. So with what the thread chaser does is this is made of some like different material that I guess just isn't as rough. And you'll see here, if I can get the camera to focus, the threads are not like a normal tap and die set. This has like a cut groove to it going all the way around, and I believe that's for when you're actually working this thing down into the thread holes, that it's going to catch whatever debris in these little channels, and we'll go ahead and pull it out of the thread then. So I was definitely curious as to what size thread chaser I need to get as well. So I got in contact with ARP, and they said for the D16Y8, said it's an M10 by 1.25. So that's the size of the threads on the block. And yeah, you just want to make sure you're using the right size, of course. So before we get started, you guys, I just wanted to point out this RM t-shirt that I'm wearing. This is a Refined Movement shirt that's available in a couple different styles on our website. And if you've been a fan of the channel for a long time, you'll know this is a new product for us. We're excited to be able to bring it to you guys, and your support would mean everything to Travis and I. The shirts are available through our website, which is listed below in the description, and you can also pick up some stickers. Any little contribution helps, you guys. It really helps us to keep bringing videos to you all. So thank you in advance for your help. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my safety goggles and start on this hole here. I'm blocking off the rest of the block there with this plastic bag just to make sure no debris goes flying anywhere into the water jacket there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the holes there. So it's pretty hard for me to show on camera. You'll just have to take my word for it. But this one here in particular really came out looking good. And I know that there was dirt and kind of grime up on the top level of this thing right here. And after using the brake clean and the compressed air, it definitely blew it out. So that is obviously working, and I'm really, really happy to see that. So with one round of the brake clean and the compressed air already done on all the holes on the cylinder block, we're going to go ahead and start messing around with the thread chaser. Okay, so going into each hole on the block here, we're just gonna take this thread chaser, we're gonna make sure it's nice and clean first, and I'm gonna actually put a little bit of oil on it, which was recommended. That could help catch some little pieces of debris that may be down into the holes here. So we're just gonna use this thing nice and slow. Just start working it down nice and slow. If it feels like it's getting hung up on anything, you wanna back it out, clean it off, and go ahead and try it again. If it's getting hung up too much, maybe try using compressed air, move some stuff around, and just keep doing that for each of the holes. It's gonna be a tedious process, but one that I think will be very worthwhile. So I just have a little bit of oil here in this cap. Just gonna go ahead and lightly dab this thing up. Run it all down there. All right. Yeah, so far this thing's going down really nice and smooth here. No real hang-ups. Okay, there. Just got a little bit of a hang-up. I'll go ahead and back out. And nothing really on it. Seems to be working good. All right, so I just kind of cleaned this guy up a bit. There was really no dirt on it anyway, but just go ahead and re-oil this thing up here. Pop all that down. All right, so just working that back down in, and yeah, I just had that little bit of a hang up, and then I kind of just backed it out and went again, and this time it's going in much nicer. So just keep that thing going all the way through. And we'll go ahead and back it out. Really simple tool, really nice. One thing I will say about this is I was going to actually go to my local auto parts store to get this, and they did have a thread cleaning set. However, that looks nice and clean. The one at the local auto parts store, it wasn't long enough. And I think that would be the common problem that maybe you'd run into by trying to use that one at whatever local auto store. It was like maybe a quarter of the thread size on this. So I saw it and I was like, it's just not gonna work. It's not long enough to go down and through the threads. So this ARP one was like 20 bucks. Definitely recommend it. I just cleaned off a little bit of excess oil on my finger there. And then let's go ahead and try this guy. Just work it in nice and slow. I mean, it's going super smooth for me. There you get a little bit of a hang up. Back it out. See, on this one here, I was actually able to pick up some debris. Not much, but a bit. And I'm happy just to get that out of there, man. It makes me feel good that that's coming out of there. I came out of the center one right here. And yeah, like I said, we want accurate torque readings. And if we got this gunk in there, it's possible that our stud wouldn't seat totally correctly. And yeah. All right, man, so I'm really impressed with how well this thread chaser worked. It picked some stuff out of almost every one of them holes there. Not too much, but enough to make me feel good about getting it and doing this process. Really, really simple. Like I said, you just thread it down nice and slow. Well, first of all, of course, make sure it's all cleaned up and put some oil on it. Then thread this thing down nice and slow, back it out, thread it down again if you have to. I ended up using my vice grips to help me turn it towards the bottom. Worked really well. Picked some of that stuff out, go ahead and took this thing out, cleaned it off, re-oiled it, and then went ahead to the next thread hole. So what I'm going to do to finish that process off is do one more round of the brake clean and compressed air. We'll spray a bit of brake clean down in there, compressed air it out after it sits in there for a second, and then we'll be good to put the new studs in. All right, all done. And the last thing I did there, I didn't show on camera, was I put just a little bit of brake clean on the rag there, and then I just wiped down the surface of everything. It's not going to be totally clean, obviously, because it's not gone to the machine shop, but it's better than what it was when I took the original head gasket off. All right, head stud time. Here's the new head gasket. Honda part. There's the part number if y'all need it. This is for the D16Y8, of course. So we'll be putting that on. There's a couple different ways I think you can do this. You can go ahead and just put the two dowel pins back in and then go ahead and line up the head gasket first. That's one option. The other option, I believe, is to just go ahead and put the head studs down and then put the head gasket on over top. I think that's what I'm gonna end up doing. You do what you want. But here are the ARP instructions. Go ahead and screenshot that if you need to, but it comes with every kit. And yeah, we're eventually gonna be doing 60 foot-pounds on this. We'll get to that. We did all this. We cleaned all the threads and we chased with the ARP thread chaser. It says if necessary, I went ahead and did it. Clean and inspect all hardware, so they all look good to me. I've already gone ahead and done that. Now, what it says is you want to go ahead and use this fastener assembly lubricant on all of the threads, meaning the top and the bottom, and then the nuts. We are only going to be working with the bottom here right now because I don't have the cylinder head to put on it. So I'm going to go ahead and use this fastener lubricant only on the bottom threads. And you'll see here that there are two different sizes of thread, or two different length of thread, I should say. The bottom one is fatter, thicker. It has more threads than the top does. So the more thread side goes into the bottom on the block, like so. And the top part will be for the nut on the thread that goes up into the cylinder head. So now one thing that this does say is that to screw these down hand tight only into the block. So literally just hand tight. But they can bind up a little bit. You know, I had to use it for the thread chaser. This guy right here to go ahead and move the thread chaser a bit. So it does have this Allen key head up at the top here. I'm going to use my Allen key just to, you know, get it down seated properly and evenly for all of them. I won't torque it past that, just bottoming them all out on the bottom there. All right, so we got our fastener assembly lubricant here. We'll go ahead and just squeeze out a little bit and put it up on the thread. I'm gonna go ahead and work that around with my finger. All right, and with that all done up, let's go ahead and pop it down into the block. And working in nice and easy, very good sign. So again, hand tight only. We're just gonna bottom this thing out. And that's it right there. One down. All right, so this one right here, I'm going ahead and using my Allen wrench. It's not going down difficult. It's just enough to where hand tight is just a little bit too much. So I'm going ahead and just working it down with this, but again, just bottoming out like these two are right here. Nice and easy. And there we are. Alright, you guys, so that's going to be it for this episode. I'm super glad I did the thread chaser, cleaned out those holes. It was very worthwhile. The new head studs went in really nice. I got to make sure that they're all nice and level. I'm going to go ahead and look into that before I put the head gasket on and the dowel pins. And then obviously before I get the cylinder head back and put that on. So thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next one.